Nah.
Oh Lord, I'll get it together. So I have two cats, Shrimp and Grits. Both of them are very sweet cats, blisteringly dumb. I love them to pieces. They're not the smartest cats I have had in my life. Shrimp every once in a while will like to play fetch. But he'll do it like 2 or 3 times and it'll be like, that's more than enough exercise for me, good sir, goodbye. Grits, however, has not shown any interest in doing that until about 3:15 or 3:30 in the morning this morning when he has this toy he loves. It's this fuzzy green oval. I don't know what it was originally supposed to be. I think it was a fuzzy green oval that had a bunch of feathers sticking out the end of it. He turns into this like unhinged feral beast when a toy has feathers on it until he rips them out, and he's like, "You're all safe here. I've done my job, good citizens." And then he kind of doesn't care, but it has like a rattle in it. Decided to bring that into bed at like 3:15, 3:30 in the morning, and just start shaking it in his mouth until we woke up, and then was like, "You want to play fetch?" So we like threw it out of the room just to get him out of there, and he kept like bringing it back and back and back. I'm like, "Please, I don't want to take my mask off. I like my please. Whenever I take my CPAP mask off, I'm like it takes me a while to get back to bed. Like, please, this cannot be the first time you want to play fetch in the middle of the night. I'm begging you. Please."
Oh,
also,
not
don't
only
wake up
is
my
it the
kid.
first time, it is the only time now.
It won't be. No, it won't be the last time. It will be the first time of many times at exactly that time every time.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah. Cats, man. So good. All right. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to a brand new episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
We have a ton to talk about today, so I'm very quickly going to do a plug here for the way that you, the listener, can support this show as a listener-supported show over at e1m1.cash.
Those ones are the numbers.
$5 a month tiers a recommended one. That gets you everything. Early access, exclusive, uncensored episodes, all the cool stuff over there at that website. Two very quick production notes here. Time of this release for this episode, if you're listening to the audio version, 2 other episodes came out at the same time. Brand new episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love for October 2025 came out. It's a really great episode where we talked about way more games than we have talked about in a while. If you also want to hear more talk about Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, we have even more talk about it over on that show as well. So that's in this very feed alongside. Also alongside this episode in the very feed is our most recent Game Club recap episode for the Exit 8. We played that for our Spooky Month episode. If you haven't played that before, I think it's $3 and it's about an hour or 2 long. And kind of the less you know going into it, the better. We had a really good conversation about that game. I think at least 2 of us came out of the episode saying, okay, maybe I kind of warmed up on that game a little bit more. Who was it of the 3 of us? You'll have to go listen and find out after you play the Exit 8. But our very next game for Game Club and our very last game on Game Club for 2025, because remember we only play 11 games per year in Game Club, is Journey. We realized we have not played that on the show, and at least one of us had not played that ever. So we're finally going to get to what is hopefully still an all-time PS3 classic, Journey, for the show.
Oh, you're playing that Journey. Nice.
Yes, that game company's Journey.
I remember having a ton of fun with that game.
Yep. Yeah, so go check that out. I think that's all the production stuff here. So Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
So this week, I unfortunately did not have a lot of time to play much of anything. I literally played a whole bunch of Deep Rock Galactic. I played a whole bunch of the Exit 8. I watched our movie for the Critical Misses season.
Oh, yeah?
And I worked 60 hours, 60 plus hours this week, some number above that. So yeah. Nimp, what have you been playing this week?
So, what I've been playing, mine will also be pretty quick. I do have games to talk about, but um, first game I'm going to talk about is Ghost of Yotei.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is going to slowly start turning into like the back burner game that I talk about on the podcast, just because I am doing a lot, but there's not a lot to really talk about that'd be interesting.
A lot of like
I
open
have-
world exploring and missions
Yeah,
and
unless-
side quests.
If
and-
you guys want me to get into a real deep dive about how silly it is to have a horse slide down the side of a mountain, like literally slide down the side of it, and how fun it is to chase foxes, I mean, I'll talk about it,
Right.
but that sounds boring to me to listen to.
and also, like, that's just kind of about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at this point, I am 20 hours in, and I have killed my second Yotei.
Okay.
And I did not notice this when you kill Snake at the very beginning, but they do a really cool thing where when you finally kill the Oni, was the one that I had killed, Atu takes her blade, pulls up, she's got like a sash in front of her that has all their names on it, and she pulls up that sash and wipes the blood of the Oni over the name.
That's
So it looks like
incredibly
she's
cool.
crossing it up. It is. And when I saw her do that, I'm like, holy hell, I don't remember her doing that with Snake.
That's
but
very
I guess
cool.
it was like, that is a very metal thing to do right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm having a bunch of fun with that. There is a, I'm not going to spoil anything story-wise, because this
Sure.
is kind of the other thing with Yotei. Something happened story-wise that I did not hear about. And it has taken on an interesting route that I am not used to games taking.
Oh, okay.
And I really enjoyed this. And it's kind of reaffirmed my, man, this is doing really cool things right now that I am really, really enjoying. One thing so far that I have found that I do dislike is when you are fighting like 5 enemies at a time. It's kind of a pain, just because there's not a lock on. There's like a soft lock on, but there's not like a hard lock on,
Sure.
and that kind of sucks. But I mean, outside of that, though, like I'm still having a bunch of fun. I'm in a new area, still within the island, but I've met like a whole like tribal group that was very interesting, figuring out certain things that they believe in and what they do, and how they were helping me with something. And I had actually just recently read an article about this where this tribal group did actually exist, and they have 2 different names. They have a name that they give publicly, and they have like the name that they are known, I believe it's within their tribe or within their family only.
Interesting.
And when given their public name, when translating it into English, at least it seems like, you do not capitalize that name like you normally would.
Oh,
And a lot of people, I guess, had tried to call out Sucker Punch on that, and they were like, "No, we spoke with our people. You know, our
right.
people
We
who
did the like
research.
research. Right.
Yes, spoke with our people to consult with, and they had said, yeah, no, that is the correct method of representing these people.
That's interesting.
And I don't think I would have necessarily caught it, because they're not sitting there like throwing their names out a bunch. But I think it would have been those things like maybe I would have seen it one time, thought, huh, that was weird. Maybe they missed that, you know, in
Right.
their pass through while editing kind of thing. But now that I had that, and then I happened to have that mission next, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, man, this is actually really cool. Even in the trophy that you get for completing something in that area, they keep it the exact same way.
That's cool.
So it's like, okay, yeah, no, there's a reason why the Japanese of, you know, Tsushima and now in this area, those Japanese groups are like, no, this is really good representation
Right.
for our
They did their
islands.
homework.
Yeah, they took their time and they did it right, apparently. So
That's cool.
Ghost of Yotei is still a great game.
Nice.
Still really enjoying it. My next game, which, oh boy, I'm kind of enjoying it, is The Evil Within.
Oh,
Remember how I said that I ran into an invisible enemy, and I'm pretty sure I will run into more?
Oh yeah, did
That was
how'd that
all
go?
this next chapter.
There you go.
So I've only done one more chapter with this game, and so now I'm on chapter 6. But you are working your way through a hospital, and it's all dilapidated and everything. And I had discovered that you can hear them kind of enough to know that something else is with you.
Oh, okay.
But the areas that you're in are pretty big. The hallways, there's some stuff that could give it away. Like if there's a gurney or something in the hallway and they bump into it, the gurney will move and that'll let you know, oh, hey, crap, there's something in here with me.
Right.
9 times out of 10, though, you're not getting a sound cue and they're not bumping into anything.
Mm.
You just know they're there when they attack you out of the blue, and that's
boy.
not great. But what I did discover is that this does have a stealth element where it's got like the little eyeball at the top of the screen, or like a little eye, kind of like Skyrim or Elder Scrolls. So if you see that and you're not hearing anything and you don't see anything, then it's an invisible enemy.
Gotcha.
I was like, okay, so now you know, okay, something is in here with me. I need to figure out where real fast.
The battle music has started, and you're like, okay, something is around here that I should be fighting.
And that's the other thing, too. Like, the music doesn't change or anything until it either attacks you or until you discover them. Then the
that's really
that
clever.
battle. So it's meant to screw you over, and it's kind of good if you like that kind of thing. I am not that person. So, what I have been doing, because the other thing too, if you make enough noise, if there are enemies in the area, they will start to search for you. So that was something I discovered with that eye, is you can pay attention at the top. If the eye is stationary and it's fully open, something sees you and it's actively coming at you.
Oh, okay.
Just for these invisible enemies. Normal enemies, like that eye doesn't pop up at all unless you're stealthing. If they know that you're in the area but they have not discovered you, the pupil of that eye will keep swaying back and forth
Oh, okay.
until
Like it's
they've
looking
located
for you?
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so I started using that to be able to find these guys, but a lot of times what I was doing, I crafted so many of those proximity mine arrows, and the best thing about these is if they don't get used, you can run back up to that arrow and pick it back up and have
Nice.
it in your inventory again and reuse it. So I can hold 3 of them, I think, right now. As soon as I see that eye pop up, or if I hear something, I'll just shoot one in front of me on the ground, and I'll just kind of wait. And 9 times out of 10, this has worked for me. I think there was one time one came through a window, and that there was a lot of swearing in that moment.
Yeah.
And so, this game does not do well with enemies being close up on you because the camera is so weird
Right.
that if they come up on your character, like, you can't see them because your character is blocking where the enemy's at.
Sure,
So
right.
it sucks. So that was fun, and after I got through that, there was this creepy lady with like 6 arms that ran around like a spider.
Oh, boy.
And she just randomly there's like a pool of blood, and she just comes up out of the ground and starts chasing you. And then she turns into a boss fight.
Oh, okay.
And that sucked. Apparently she doesn't like fire, which is great because there was like a bunch of burning drums and stuff, so I just blew those up when she was next to him and was able to wipe my hands of that fight. But God, that was a creepy lady to listen to.
Yeah.
Just the weird noises. This game does all kinds of squishy noises. So if you're
Squishing
not
and
a fan of
skittering.
that, so if you're not a fan of that, yeah, maybe turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am now in chapter 6. There was an outdoor area that I'm slowly going through, and that's about all I know so far. Oh, I did find another guy. The other detective that was missing, Joseph, did finally meet up with him. He is randomly turning into one of these guys and then turning back to normal.
Oh, that's fun.
So they did something to him. And that's been interesting to try to figure out. So
Thanks.
that's the evil within. I can't say that I'm fully enjoying it, but I mean, it's keeping me going. So I have my shotgun fully upgraded
Oh, all right.
because I sleep with that thing in this game. Like, it does not leave me. Last game I have to talk about, if you were listening to the pre-show, we were talking about emulation, so I just want to get this out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is all perfectly legal and above board for me.
Yep.
The game I'm going to be talking about is Parasite Eve from the PlayStation 1.
Oh, yeah.
I am using the DuckStation emulator.
Mm-hmm.
I have pulled the BIOS from my PlayStation. I have my serial number and all that fun stuff.
He's done the work.
Yeah, I have pulled the ROM from, if you look up there, I have 2 cases of Parasite Eve 1 there.
Right.
I have pulled the ROM from my first and second disc and have loaded it on, and everything works great. I will say with the DuckStation, I'm using the plug-in Xbox controller that I have over here.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a moment, but there is an option that I finally found where you just tell it, hey, just automatically map the buttons for me on this controller.
Oh, nice.
And it just works the way you expect it to. Yeah. It's like, all right, sweet. So I was using that, got everything loaded. I listened to that intro music because that is the best.
Oh, it's so good.
And restarted it, paused it, called my wife in here because she's as big of a Parasite Eve nerd as we all are. Told her to put the headphones on. I unpaused it. She's like, "Oh, cool. So you're having me watch a video?" I'm like, "No, baby. This is the game."
Oh no!
Running
Here's
on
the
computer.
controller.
So you may be thinking, well, Nymph didn't have a whole lot to talk about. Yeah, because my wife was on my computer playing Parasite Eve.
That's right.
As
she should be.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of why I installed it for her.
Yeah, getting into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, and this is also how we found that Angel Fire website that I posted in the Discord.
Yeah.
Because she was looking up guides, she was using Game FAQ, and she was getting super annoyed with some of the guides.
Mm-hmm.
And so she starts digging through like archive.org.
The
and,
old
Just
internet.
Googling. Yeah. And yeah, she found guides written around the time this game came out.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
All
Those
right.
are the ones
Yeah.
you really want.
Yes. And it was like we were one stage away from flying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But we were one stage away from flying toasters all over again.
Yes.
Like just bringing it all back
The
full
good
circle.
internet. Let's bring it back.
Yes. So my wife, I played all the way up to the point of going through the theater and just before you fight Eve for the second time.
Okay.
And that's where I saved and stopped. My wife has gotten all the way through Central Park. She got briefly lost, had to pull up a map.
Yep.
And she couldn't find a good map because everyone was still using cardinal directions for like, go north, go east. And she's like, there is no north and east in the game. There's up, down, left, and right. And they change depending on the camera angle.
Yeah, exactly.
So she pulled up a map and I was helping her. It's like, okay, we'll just do this the old way. You're standing on a bridge. There's a chest right here. Let's find. There's 4 bridges on here. This bridge has a chest next to it. That's probably where you're at on this map. We open it. Yep. The loot table that they had listed. She got one of those items. Cool.
You have the player and the navigator.
Yep. So she's getting through that. One thing that we discovered, or that I discovered while playing around, is that DuckStation also has cheats.
That's right.
Okay, we might have to check that out because she was getting aggravated fighting a polar bear in the Central Park Zoo.
Right. I remember
because
that fight.
they take a ton of damage. So between those and I think it was like crows, or no, the monkeys. The monkeys she was having issues with too, because she had asked me, she's like, I've never known what these were. What are these? I'm like, they're monkeys. I'm like, then why do they throw their arms like boomerangs? Like, I didn't make this game. I don't know.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
I can tell you that the guy told me that these are monkeys, so that's what I'm telling you. So she was getting real low on health and stuff like that. And I was like, well, there are cheats in here. I don't know how well they work or if they even work or if I have to do like some back end stuff to, load them up or anything.
Right.
So I'll look into that for her. But we've had no issues.
That's great.
It plays exactly like if I had taken the disc out of, popped it in my PlayStation, hooked it up to the TV and play. It just looks better though, because this TV is not a fan of PS1 era games.
Right.
Like it all looks way too it should be on a CRT, and that is not what this TV is for.
Right.
But just re-listening to a lot of the sounds, like the FX, like just the walking, the opening of lockers, just all the dumb stuff. It was just a flood of memories that was really funny to listen to. And my wife and I just sat here and talked about the game for like ever. So, as for the game, if you've never played Parasite Eve, I don't know what's wrong with you.
That's right.
But yeah. Just to get it out of the way, you play as a cop, Aya Bray. I always said Bray. I hear some people say Bree. I don't know.
It's Bray. I don't think it's Bree. It's also not Brea, which I've heard as well.
Yeah, I've heard people say Brea as well. But so you play as this cop who, on the 24th of December, is going to a theater. Or no, maybe it's earlier than that. I don't remember. The game basically takes place over 5 days in New York City.
Yep.
And it's during Christmas, the Christmas time. And it starts out where a guy is bringing you on a date to a theater. And you're in a theater, and this lady, all of a sudden, just giving you the quick notes, sets everybody on fire.
Yep.
With magic, basically.
Yep.
And it has the best moment that my wife and I had talked about, where your date just completely flips out and can't handle what's happening, and Aya's there, gun ready, and basically just tells this dude, get out.
Yep.
Shoulder checks him across the venue, basically. Like, just power checks him.
Starts handling business.
And then you start playing the game, and the battle system consists of you are running around. It's free movement, and once your AT gauge fills, you hit X, and you get this wired dome, this wireframe dome that pops up, and that is the range of your current equipped weapon.
Very similar to Vagrant Story. Yes.
And you can shoot anything within that range. The closer you are to the target that you're trying to shoot, the more damage you will do, the better possibility of a critical. The further back you are, the less damage you're doing, but it also means you're not taking damage because everything's happening real time. So a lot of fun. And a lot of blowing things up.
It will never be re-released because it's based on a series of books, and allegedly those rights are very tricky.
Yes, I own the movie. I had to import that as a kid. So, and that is the other disappointing thing. That is also why there is that indie game coming out called Parasite Mutant.
Yes.
Which I'm extremely looking forward to.
Yep, the I'll do it myself version of Parasite Eve.
Yes. But yeah, we were just talking about because you both have played this. Have you guys ever run out of ammo in this game that you can remember?
I don't remember enough about it to say.
Not in the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not in the first one. I have never run out of ammo in the first one. And as a kid, you get a billy club, basically, or a Tanfu club, one of the old cop clubs, and you cannot pull it out of your inventory. You always have to have one in there.
Oh, okay.
And I always thought that was the dumbest thing until my wife had pointed out to me that she had always run out of ammo and had always had to use that stupid club.
Oh, okay.
And she absolutely hates it. I'm like, actually, now that you said that out loud, that makes sense why you can never get rid of that, because if you run out of ammo, you can't fight anything, so you have to use that club.
Right.
And I'm like, how big is the wireframe range for that? Because it can't,
right, just smack them with the club.
Yeah, so I'll have to mess with that later, because I have never had to use the club. Ammo has never been an issue for me in this game.
Yeah, I don't remember it being super tight. I'm sure there's an area or two where it's, tighter than usual, but I don't remember struggling with it.
Even going through the Chrysler building, though, I think I did that on my second run, and I don't remember ever running out of ammo during that. And you're fighting basically just bosses every floor at some point. So, but yeah, Parasite Eve 2, yeah, that one was
beast.
Screw you on ammo. Yeah.
I love that game though. 2 is incredible as well.
Really
it's very much the Aliens thing too.
Yeah.
Like the Dead Space 2 thing.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about 2 is that I feel like they tried a little too hard to make it more Resident Evil.
Yes.
In a weird way.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But outside of that, and we'll get into this because, I am going to be pulling the ROM for Parasite Eve 2.
Of course.
After
we have to get the only 2 Parasite Eve games that ever came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Never mind the other one that's sitting back there somewhere. But anyway.
Happened.
Yeah,
Fan
never
game.
existed. So, so we're just having a lot of fun talking, discussing. I'm just really impressed at how well the emulator's working on this computer.
DuckStation is great.
Yeah, and maybe one day soon I might be getting a Steam Deck to move all that stuff around, so that way my wife can just sit in the bed and play that, and I can have my computer back. So we'll see.
There you go.
But that is all I have messed with this week.
All right. I wanted to talk a little bit here about FBC Firebreak. I haven't talked about it for a while, but my good friends, the Hannah and Bill Sefford, we play it every week still. That's our normal Thursday night game. You know, when we have the opportunity to, when it's like, you know, people are having a good enough day or things, you know, the kids are doing bedtime appropriately or that sort of stuff. But more often than not, we're still playing it. They came out with their big Breakpoint patch the other day. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was basically, they announced it as I was leaving for my vacation. It's like, no, please. The one time you're like putting some cool new things in the game, I need to leave. So this past week, we finally got a chance to play it with all three of us. It's not a significantly different game at its core, but they have kind of revamped every system across the game.
Okay.
Number one, they have a tutorial now. It's really good. It is maybe 5 minutes at the most. It gives you a very quick rundown of every single system in the game. It does a really good job of showing you, like, here's the ammo station, here's your kit, here's what showers do, here's how you fight enemies, here's how to use all your abilities and all that stuff. Like, here's how to shoot the sprinklers. Sprinklers now have a little red light on them, so you can see them a lot more easily. It does a really, really, really good job of walking you through all of the basics of a very, very short mission, including getting to the elevator, calling the elevator, and leaving. So it's way better. They have all of those videos they released on YouTube of like the introductory ones for all the different crisis kits and all the missions and all the enemy types and stuff. That's in the game now too, in a separate menu. So like everything you need to know about the game is in there by default. They have significantly changed the requisitions menu. This is the most like Helldivers sort of thing that Firebreak had before, which is you have a banner. It has cosmetics in it. It has weapons. It has grenades, weapon upgrades, grenade upgrades, your basic abilities, like your... I will never remember what they call... It's like the para-utility thing. It's basically the hold a triangle thing that you charge up as you're taking damage, dealing damage to enemies, fighting enemies and stuff like that. They have removed everything except for cosmetics from those banners. So now it is only outfits for your character or sprays. What they have done to revamp that is you, at the beginning of the game, have every weapon unlocked and fully maxed out. So you just pick your weapon from a list. There are now significantly more weapons. They released at least one, if not two, new weapons for every category. Like a brand new machine gun, a rifle. If you're watching the video version here, that's the one that I'm using. They released a new handgun. They released a whole bunch of additional stuff. So there's even more tools. And any of the configurations you could do to your crisis kit, so like upgrading the main tool that you're using, the wrench, the splash kit, the jump kit, those are all maxed out and unlocked at the beginning. All of your grenades are maxed out and unlocked at the beginning. So like everything you need to do from a base level to play the game is there right at the beginning. And they have taken out... So that's the requisitions menu. There's also a research menu where before you would take any combination of the 6 materials that you would find in the levels and apply those to upgrades. And it would be stuff like your weapons have a chance to inflict burn. Or you get a better shield when you're reviving your teammates, or you revive teammates faster, which, if you're playing this, go for that one first. It's a huge benefit. They have split that menu into 2 menus now. So anything like the resonance field around you guys is bigger, or your crew's lives replenish faster, or you res people faster. All of that stuff is still in the research menu. Anything that's weapon related is in a weapon mod menu. So now any mods that you put on your crisis kit, so the stuff like I was just talking about that isn't weapon focused, of like player and gameplay focused, that goes in your crisis kit like before. But now there are 3 mods that you can equip on your weapons specifically. And the weapon mods that you can equip are specific to the class of weapon. So is it a spray weapon? Is it a handgun? Is it a precision weapon? So on and so forth. And you unlock those weapon mods as you progress and as you level up your account, basically. So they're making it easier for you to equip more mods, because before you'd have to equip your weapon mods onto your crisis kit. So you have essentially 3 more slots in your crisis kit and 3 more slots in your weapon to equip stuff now. So now you have even more options of things to kind of like mix and match, especially with your team. And now you have cool mods above and beyond. Like the ones that I was playing with, I didn't have access to all of them because I think my account level is like 35 or 37. I think it maxes out at 45 or 50, something like that. I was using the machine gun, and I was using 2 mods that were synergizing really well. One was the longer you hold the trigger, the more damage your bullets do. And it holds, I think, 100 bullets. So you could dump bullets for a considerable amount of time. And missed bullets have a 25% chance to just be refunded to the gun. So
Oh, wow.
I was just spraying at anything, and if I missed, I don't care. If I'm hitting, I'm just doing more damage. And none of that stuff existed in the base game before. So this is all kind of new mods that they're adding on top of that. In addition, the 6 materials like intel, and there was 1 type of material that was in each individual level. All of those have been removed and replaced with 3 types of material. And those are used to upgrade your stuff in either the banners for the cosmetics, but like who cares about that yet, or purchasing your mods, like the research mods. So that has been significantly simplified. And the reason why they did that is because you can't pick your individual mission anymore. I think this is going to be the most controversial choice of any of these things. Before, you would get a mission board of 5 missions. And you'd pick the mission, you'd pick your difficulty, you picked how many stages you wanted to do, like 1, 2, or 3, how far you wanted to go into the mission before you had to come back. And then like how many anomalies you needed and all of that stuff. That doesn't exist anymore. Now you get a selection of around 5 missions that they've given you. They're always going to be, with one exception, they're always going to be 3 stages. So you have to play the entire mission. They will give you, they'll be very clear about, does this level have anomalies on it or not? Or does this level, and like what does this level have for intel that's going to give you? The only exception is they have I don't remember what the mission type is called, but it's essentially like quick jobs. You only do the first 2 stages when those come up. But it tells you right at the beginning. So you're basically going in and saying like, okay, cool, these missions give this material if you need it. This one is shorter than the others. We kind of like this one. There's even a new mission with the mold in an entirely new level that's significantly different than the other ones. It also has a very funny mechanic for one of the pickups that I'm not going to spoil. Is a mold-related pickup. If you played Control, you probably already know what happens, but it was definitely one of the funniest parts of playing Firebreak. So now it's a lot more focused on something that I agree with Remedy feels more appropriate for Firebreak, of you're this team of 3 people that's going out into the oldest house and fixing problems that are popping up. And you're just going to like a job board now and saying, here are the 5 problems that people are reporting around the oldest house. Go fix one of them. Like, your team has to go fix one of them. And I think in universe that makes a lot more sense and is kind of a little bit more fun. It all is really good. Like, this is a significantly bigger excuse me, significantly bigger update than I was expecting, and really changes the entirety of the game, not just the game for somebody who's starting it at the beginning. It even changes. One of the biggest problems we would run into is like, okay, cool, did someone find the ammo station? Yes, it's over here. Okay, I pinged it. Did somebody find the shower? Yeah, it's over here. I pinged that one. Those are just on your HUD all the time. There's a little like plus sign for the shower. There's a little bullet symbol for the ammo station. You can just see it at any distance, at any time in the same zone you're in. And it's all these little fixes and benefits and all the stuff that they have done that I think really, really benefits the game a lot. So I think it should be way easier to get started with this game than it was before. And I think for people like us that have been playing this almost every week since launch, I think it gives us a little bit more variety, and I think a little bit more interesting stuff to do from kind of a run-to-run, week-to-week standpoint. Because we were still having fun, like, unlocking stuff and figuring out combinations of, like, okay, I'm going to run this thing in my loadout, and you'll run this thing, and that'll synergize. But I think the kind of the variety now with the different jobs, I think, is going to help a lot. Oh, I also forgot to mention, they added additional objectives in each level. So, like before, if you were to do the Post-it note one, you would go through the first area and you'd destroy X number of Post-it notes. Go through the second area, you destroy Y number of Post-it notes, and then you fight the boss in the third area. But now, you are going through the first area and maybe destroying Post-it notes, and then in our run the other day, we went to the second area and we needed to collect 6 like bundles of office supplies and put them in a little zone in the beginning of the area, and then once we did that, we're off to the third area. And we're still doing like fighting the enemies and fighting the kind of Post-it note monsters and stuff. But it's not just you're doing the same thing in the level every single time. And I think that's going to help it quite a bit more. And I think they said that they're going to add more of those over time as well. So it's not a significantly different game, but I think they have made the smart choices to this game, I think, to make it a little bit more long-lasting, and to make it a game that if you didn't enjoy its original release of like, just hop in there and let's figure it out, like let's experience this game together and let's figure it out with your friends, they've removed a lot of that friction, and I think that's going to help for a lot of people now, and I think it's pretty exciting. So if you haven't tried it, or you tried it before and you didn't like it, try it again. It's a pretty significantly different game from like not from a gameplay perspective, from like a systems perspective, which I think it really needed to be. So it's cool. FBC Firebreak, still on Game Pass, if you wanted to try it out. All right, let's move on to my next game here, Absolum. We talked about this during releases last week. .emus, which I had to look up how to pronounce their studio name. It is .emu, which I was wrong about last week. It's their beat 'em up roguelike game. And I am really impressed by this quite a bit. So we talked about it last week, and we talked about .emu before. You probably know them from the Streets of Rage 4 and their Ninja Turtles Splinters Revenge, whatever that one was called. Yeah, they made like a arcade Ninja Turtles arcade. Shredder's Revenge. Thank you. That game is really good too. So they make really, really good beat 'em up games. And what they've done is they've taken that core gameplay that they have kind of perfected over the last they've been in business for I think like 15 years or something. And if you've never played a beat 'em up before, the way you're supposed to play a beat 'em up is you get as far as you can and you kind of learn as much as you can about enemies and bosses and where the items are in the level and how your character's movements are. And then you play again and again, and you get a little bit further, and you fight bosses a little bit smoother, and you know the enemy's tricks, and where the enemies pop out of, and where the floor chickens are, and all that stuff. They've taken that thing and wrapped a light roguelike progression system around the whole thing. So when you die in a run, you go back to your hub area, and this goddess you're kind of in service to has a bar filling up, and every time the bar fills up, you gain a level of like wherever the hub is. She gives you like a piece of currency, and you have 3 currencies. One of them you find in the level, 2 of them you get through leveling that up. And you're just working on improving your character. So you're doing the usual stuff of like, well, I start with 25 gold this time, or I have a 5% higher chance of doing crit attacks at this point, or I now start with 25 more HP with every run. Or one of the ones I unlocked pretty early on was first time you die, you come back with 25% health, and I just upgraded that to 50% health. So you basically get 2 lives in a run now. And you go out in the world, and like a usual beat 'em up, you'll get to the end of an area. It will say, hey, here are 2 paths. Pick one of them, and it will kind of lead you to another node on the map and get all the way to the other end of this map and go fight the boss. And there are side quests and there are missions along the way, but at its core, it is the same high quality beat 'em up that .emu is known for, and that I think we kind of fell in love with Streets of Rage 4 and the TMNT game, but with the kind of fun trappings of a light roguelike around it, which I'm saying light because it's not you're guaranteed to die on your first run, and you know this is the thing where you have to grind and grind forever to even have a chance. I had a really great run as a really cool character on like my 5th or 6th run. I went almost all the way to the end, because I just, every time you clear a room, you get some sort of item drop. Every once in a while you'll get a new ability, or you'll upgrade an ability or something like that. I had a really great run where I just synergized a bunch of cool abilities, and I was able to use my I think they call it Arcana. It's your kind of R2 special move. I was able to use that. Every time I'd use that, it would just spit out a bunch of mana orbs to recharge it completely. So I'm just spamming my special move time and time and time again and just clearing out rooms of enemies with no problem. It's like, okay, great. It's a thing that Moon and I talk about on We Roguelike It a lot, of like, I want more roguelikes to let me break them open and get that synergy where it's like, great, I'm just going to walk right through the rest of this run. Like that feels really good, and I've already had that happen at least once in this game, which is pretty exciting. Before I talk about my last thing here in the game, I do want to call out it has an assist mode. It does allow for 2-player couch co-op and 2-player online co-op. You can also play against a random person online. There is an assist mode in the game where they do the thing we've kind of celebrated Control for, of how much damage do you want to do to enemies, sort of plus or minus from 100, and how much damage do you want enemies to do to you, sort of plus or minus 100. That doesn't turn off trophies. It doesn't make fun of you and say like welcome to baby mode or anything like that. Thankfully, a lot of games are better about that now. The only caveat it says very clearly in the game is you can't play online with someone else with assist mode on, because they can't guarantee your settings for player 1 and 2 would match their settings for player 1 and 2. You just can't. You can't do it. But you can still do couch co-op. I was like, okay, that seems fair. Like a problem that if this game were to be the biggest thing on the planet, it looks like they've already sold 250,000 copies, which is incredibly good. But like maybe that's a thing they could work on in the future if it becomes too big of an issue. But at least they're upfront about it and saying like, we've got this thing, it just doesn't work online. It's like, okay, that seems more than fair. The thing that I really found interesting about this game, and it's something I've been thinking about recently as Hades 2 just came out of early access, and kind of watching the long-lasting influences and effects that the first Hades has had on roguelikes as a genre overall. And a lot of the influence from Hades has been there should be something new or something evolving in the hub every time you finish a run. And this game does that as well, where there's a bunch of people in the hub and you're kind of finding more of them as you're going run over run, and you're like doing side quests and you're doing missions, and a lot of times they're like, I'll meet you back in the hub and I'll help you out. So you'll get a new vendor in the hub that will do something. There's always one guy that's there in between every single run, and every time you talk to him, he's got something new to talk about. And a lot of the times it's new lore stuff, but sometimes he'll give you a mission, or sometimes he'll give you like a new piece of information about how to do a special move or something like that. So it has that, but it also has something that I don't think I've seen in a roguelike before, and Moon can correct me if I'm missing something from any of the ones we've played on We Roguelike It, weroguelikeit.com. They have something really interesting that took me a couple of runs to figure out, but there's a really early example of you run into a broken bridge on one of these pathways through the game, and there's a soldier standing there saying, oh my god, we have to go pay respects to the Sun King, but the bridge is destroyed, and the only people that can fix it is the goblin queen. Can you please go talk to her and see if she'll fix the bridge? And you're like, yeah, of course, I'll accept every mission, why not? And the game kind of also doesn't give you an option for a mission. It's just like, hey, you picked up this mission. You, on that pathway, you make your way to the goblin town, you fight their champion, you talk to their queen, and they're like, yeah, we can we can fix the bridge. We did break it though, but we'll fix it, but we won't forgive the humans for what they've done. And it's like, okay, not sure quite what's going on here, but that's fine. So the next run, you take that same pathway and you run across that same soldier, now in front of a fixed bridge. It's been completely repaired. And he said, oh my God, thank you so much. I appreciate you talking to the Goblin Queen. They fixed it right up. Now we can go pay our respects to the Sun King. And because you fixed that bridge, now you have a new path across the map. And there will be a bunch of nodes that you couldn't get to before along that pathway. And you're kind of walking through this wooded area, and you're fighting a bunch of goblins, you're fighting a bunch of monsters. I do another couple of runs, and I go on the different path from the beginning of the game. I eventually get back to going down on that path, and on the other side of the bridge, there are now more soldiers, and they're cutting down trees. And the goblins are encroaching on the soldiers, saying like, hey, this is our forest, this is where we live, this is the stuff we need to live. You can't chop down these trees. This is why we broke the bridge in the first place. Go through there, there's nothing really new. As you go over the next couple of runs, there are more and more trees missing in that area across the bridge. And eventually, they chop down enough trees that a new pathway opens up there after a handful of runs, and now you have an additional path through the deepest part of the woods and a whole different section of this game unlocked, because not only did you complete this mission, but you also did X number of runs for the world to progress and allow this new area to open up. And I was like,
that's pretty cool.
That's wild. Usually we don't see that. Usually we see like, oh, there's a special version of this level. There are champions all over this place. But the world itself is evolving run over run, and the storyline that you're progressing is now changing the world and now making the whole world and the map progress. And I thought that was really, really cool. And unless I'm wrong, I don't think we've run into a game that has done that on that scale in kind of all the roguelikes we've played. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. It's cool because playing it for, the first hour or so, I'm like, this is cool. Like you took this genre that you are experts at .emu, and you just made like a fantasy one. The music is fantastic. The art style is super cool. The cutscenes are great. It looks great in motion. Like it's a really great looking game, and it plays super well as like a regular beat 'em up. And you have this kind of roguelike flavor on the top of it. But then you have this really cool evolving world on top of it. I think that's really, really, really neat. And I
actually thought you were going to say once the bridge was repaired and you sent the pilgrims on their way, you just watched them get absolutely slaughtered by the cops.
And like you're getting a little bit of... There's actually a really interesting system for getting lore in this game. Like every once in a while in the background you see like a little like sparkle in the background. You can go up there and hit R1, and basically the goddess in the hub zone will give you just one paragraph's worth of background on what's going on in the world, or like what's going on that area, and then you'll just keep going on. So like you have not only the story that you're progressing by doing all these missions, but you also have the story that you're sort of absorbing with what she's telling you as well. So it's super cool. I think I've unlocked all 4 characters at this point. They all play... I haven't played the first one, who's basically like... looks like the Golden Axe Dwarf, which is really great. I played as like the elf swordswoman, the frog mage, who I kind of don't like yet, and Cider, who I really like, is this woman who has a bunch of like mechanical parts. She has this really fun like Inspector Gadget arm that she can send out and grab enemies and pull her closer to them, and like do that in the air and do a bunch of really cool juggling moves. Absolum is really cool. I'm really, really impressed by it, and a lot of people are saying that they're seeing everything or kind of unlocking everything in about 20 hours, which I think is really cool too. Some people are already saying like, well, that's too short for a roguelike. No, it's just not all of these need to be an Isaac thing of like, all right, buckle in, buddy. You're in for 200 something hours if you're good enough to beat this game. Not all these games need to be that, and I'm if that's the case, I'm really happy that it's like the 30 or 40 hour JRPG we've been talking about, of like, just condense it. It doesn't need to be the biggest thing ever, because there's 5 biggest RPGs ever that are coming out every month. They can't all be like that. So like, not every roguelike,
not all video games need to be more than 20 hours.
Exactly. Like, not every roguelike needs to be 700 items in 120 hours for you to just start getting good at it. So I really appreciate that. I would really recommend checking out Absolum. I meant to go look and see if there's a demo, because if there's a demo, I would really recommend it. And especially if you're looking for something to play with someone in like a couch co-op standpoint, especially something where you're investing in meta progression, run over run, and it's something you can kind of play for a while. I think this is super cool. So check out Absolum. I've had a blast with it so far. I'm looking forward to playing more of it this week. And last but not least, Silksong. Still now, speaking of 40-hour games, now ramping up to about 40 hours in this game, and not at the end quite yet. I did make a lot of progress on the kind of main storyline mission here this week. It's another one of those things where it's like, you get in Act 3, you do a bunch of mission stuff, and then they're like, okay, do these 3 things that are on the map, and it has a special icon on the map. I've done 2 of those 3 things. One was a ridiculous boss fight where you had to complete 3 different gauntlet rooms before you fought the boss. And if you died in any of those gauntlet rooms, like I did, for sure, because it's a Hollow Knight game, you had to fight through all of those gauntlet rooms to get back to where the boss is. That was really rough until I did well enough to clear out all 3 of them, and then they opened up a pretty generous shortcut, which is really great. If you're playing that, please don't miss the shortcut. You could miss it at some point, but explore that whole area after the 3rd fight. That boss fight was really cool. The other mission over there was 2 pretty challenging back-to-back boss fights. One boss fight was like a very fast-paced one that I had a lot of fun playing, and a very fun, very acrobatic boss after that. Another one of those fights where the more you can stay in the air consistently, the easier of a time you're going to have with the boss, which I think is a lot of fun. I'm just kind of clearing out more stuff on the map. I still have not found 100% of the zones. I still have not gotten all of the maps. I still don't have all the items or the tools or completed all the wishes or any of that stuff, or like all of the upgrades. I have fully upgraded my needle, my main weapon, which has been a significant upgrade at this point, to the point where Monkey Senior and I were talking about it as I was streaming this the other day, that I ran into a boss that I had missed much earlier in the game in an area that I just hadn't found. It's a very, very small area. It's basically like one long hallway. That boss was a cakewalk, though, because I'm now fully upgraded, and I think I maybe did like 1 damage phase, and I just wiped the floor with that boss. It was sort of like, okay, like, that's satisfying on some level, but it's also sort of like, I kind of wish I got to see the full boss fight if I had found it at the right spot. So like I sort of feel like I missed the fight a little bit, but it also feels really good just going to this boss and like one phasing it on the first try and being like, yep, way stronger at this point. That feels pretty good. So that's been my only kind of slight frustration on this game, but even so, it's sort of like, shut up, dummy. Like, you're super strong at this point. Like, I can't even imagine how hard that boss would have been if you had run into it like 10, 20 hours ago.
So don't worry, you got 10 more bosses that will probably fill in.
I don't even know how many bosses I have left. Like, I'm a little bit worried about it. I have so far fought one like optional hidden boss, which of course it's a Hollow Knight game, so the boss fight was a super bummer against somebody I really didn't want to fight. Because these games need to have boss fights where like, I don't want to fight you. Oh, this is super sad. Okay. Oh, it's another sad fight. Jeez. So it's definitely one of those. I continue to find more stuff that is different because I moved from Act 2 to Act 3. There was a genuinely rather disturbing quest line that I did in Act 2 and kind of did the second stage of in Act 3 that I thought was really interesting, especially from a design or like a sound design perspective. It was one of the only NPCs I've heard that has had like genuinely painful sounding labored breathing to the point of like, I don't think I should be helping you do this, man. Like I don't think this is going to help you in any form or fashion, and maybe I shouldn't be doing this for you. In a way that, I think Hollow Knight and kind of the Souls games does really well of like, I'm going to help you. I think I'll get some benefit, but at what cost? Is any of this worth it, I guess? Pharaoh Rain says, are we not mentioning that one boss that went from peppy to goth? Not really. I have only run into one of these bosses so far, maybe technically two, that you kind of fight again in the game. After the first Hollow Knight with like the Dreamer, what was it, the Dreamer versions, whatever those, like, you'd go back to a boss's corpse and you'd hit them with the special nail and it would start like a super hard version of the boss fight.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to happen in Silksong, and it really hasn't. So I'm sure there is DLC planned, so I'm sure something like that will happen in this like nightmare, somehow harder version of this game in the future. But there has been kind of two boss fights that I have gone back through and fought the bosses again, and one of them was really good and way harder than I think I was expecting at all. So I'm still having a blast. Like, I'm still finding new stuff. I picked up an item in game that gives me a percentage completion number at this point. I think I'm at 80 something. So getting to 100% seems very doable, and I don't think you need any of the, based on what Monkey Senior said, I don't think you need any of the mementos, which seem to be like badges that you get for doing some of the like trickiest platforming or hardest bosses or like the longest gauntlets. Or they seem to be like kind of badges of honor of like, okay, you went and you did some of the toughest stuff in the game, whether on purpose or by accident. So here's a little memento to put in your house to say, good job, you did one of the 8 things. But it also expanded the tools menu at that point to show how many I'm missing. So it puts a little empty spot with the ones I'm missing. So it seems a lot more fair than the first game, where the first Hollow Knight was like, yeah, you want to get 100%? Okay, good luck. Figure it out, man. And this one's a lot of like, okay, we're gonna mark more stuff on the map. We're gonna show you a lot more like entrances and exits of areas. We're going to make it a little bit easier for you to mark your map and kind of figure out maybe what you're missing. So that feels a little bit more fair and a little bit more doable in this game. So I really love Silksong. There aren't too many more ways for me to say it other than it's more Hollow Knight. It's just they somehow made it better with a cooler character that talks this time. So I almost had a thought here for a minute this week of like, maybe I should go back to Hollow Knight and just start it back over and like do all of the DLC this time and like see the entirety of the game. And I thought, no, I don't want to do Deep Nest again. That's the worst part of that game. I'll let the positive memories of that game live in my memories and suffer complimentary through the rest of Silksong here. So you should really play it, especially if you enjoyed Hollow Knight. Again, if you didn't play the first Hollow Knight, don't just hop into Silksong. Yeah. That's like the hard mode. You really do need to start the first game, even if you just kind of do the regular ending for Hollow Knight and kind of just beat the normal way. You don't have to do like the true ending and get all the extra stuff. You at least will be prepared for what Silksong has for you. All right, that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Okay, I need to close these blinds a little bit.
I am probably going to have to bounce because my head feels like it's going to explode.
Oh, okay. Yes, please do. I don't want you to... I don't want your...
I'm going to make your life nice and simple. I'm just going to turn my camera off and mute my microphone. So you don't have to rejigger any of the setup here
sure.
for the layouts.
Okay. And you don't even need to upload your audio or anything because I've got different backups.
It will be there.
Okay. If you want to, great. If you're not feeling well enough, please don't feel like you need to.
No,
Before you go, though, I really want to point out I enjoy your 80s style sweater that you're wearing.
It is very good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I meant to mention that to you yesterday. Oh, it's very
you
cool.
got the front. Oh, you got the pouch.
Front pouch, yeah. The kangaroo pouch.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, well...
And, it's done by a streamer who is very frog-based.
Okay.
It's very subtle because you can just about
there's
see
like frogs in the flower, it looks like?
The frogs in the tulips.
That's fun.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
So it's super duper subtle, but it's a decent thing, and it doesn't have a hood on it, which I need right now. So,
all right. Well, I hope you feel better, Moon. Go
get some rest.
Turn off the lights and lay down.
Give me a 3, 2, 1, Boston, so I can stop when you say 1.
Okay. You can go ahead and stop in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thanks so much, Moon. I hope you feel better, and I will see you next week. Let me know if you need anything.
Woo-woo.
Okay, let me switch over to configure this. Okay, let me add you here, and I'll change your name here real quick. Oh my god, my software is the worst. There we go.
On-the-fly transitions.
Okay. Okay, that will do it. And then YouTube version of that one. Aha, there we go. Say hello to the show notes, everyone. We'll add you to the stream there, and we'll switch this to YouTube. Any day now, software. It's really unhappy that I'm doing this at the same time that we are streaming. There we go. Okay, are you ready for the final part of this episode?
I am.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of October 20th, 2025. Quick note here. Moon wasn't feeling well. He had to step away, so we will see him next week. It'll just be the two of us to talk about releases and the news stories here. Real quick, let's start off with Jurassic World Evolution 3, coming out on the PS5, Series consoles, and PC. I somehow missed that they made a second one of this, but this is the kind of park runner management sim.
Yeah.
Jurassic World
Tycoon.
game. Yeah, Jurassic World Tycoon, like Sim Jurassic World. People seem to really like the first one. I'm assuming they like the second one too. These games, from everything I've seen, seems to have been kind of a runaway hit of like, yeah, I want to run Jurassic Park. And the game is like, yep, here you go. You sure can. So these seem cool. They look really neat, and they seem like really cool games. So I don't know.
They're made by Frontier, and the only other game they seem to make is also Elite Dangerous. So
Right. Yep. So they got the pedigree. Next up here, because we have a bajillion games that are released this week. Ninja Gaiden 4 coming out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This is Game Pass day and date. Because I keep forgetting, I don't think Team Ninja is an Xbox studio. They might be. But
I don't think they got
I think Xbox is publishing this because I think the Ninja Gaiden name is pretty closely tied. A thing I didn't know about this game until today is that it looks like a considerable amount of the development was done by Platinum Games on this one. I thought this was just Koei Tecmo, like the previous ones, and whatever Team Ninja is right now, which we'll get to in the news stories. But it looks like Platinum has done a pretty good amount of work on this game, which is pretty exciting because the Ninja Gaiden 1 and Black and 2 were really good. I never got around to playing 3 because everybody said it was really bad. But you take a Ninja Gaiden game and you put the kind of Team Ninja plus Platinum Games combo together, like that's pretty cool. That seems like a neat game. So, yeah.
I did pull it up real quick too. Xbox does not own Team Ninja. They're still part of Koei Tecmo.
Okay.
So
weird. I wonder why the Xbox Game Studios.
Apparently, they've just been doing a lot of collaborations with Xbox recently.
Okay.
So
there you go. Best friends. Can't blame them for that. Next game here is Painkiller. Comes out PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This is really weird. Saber Interactive and 3D Realms. Sorry, they're just Saber now. They're not Saber Interactive. Are doing a reimagining of cult favorite and one of my favorite first-person shooter games, Painkiller, which was this like one of the famous things is like the stake gun, where you're shooting wooden stakes and like pinning enemies to walls and each other.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And you were using huge weapons against huge fields of enemies and massive enemies that were like 10, 20 times bigger than you are. It was a very cool game and kind of landed at the wrong time for a lot of people to be interested in it. It got a couple sequels, but never really got kind of where I thought it should go. So it's really weird to see these two publishers kind of say like, we're going to try again with Painkiller. And it's still the same kind of FPS, and you can play it 4 players if you want to, and you can play it single player if you really want to. And we're just starting Painkiller back over. And it's like, okay, like that certainly wasn't on my list of things for this year, but cool. Painkiller's back, baby. So that's very weird, but kind of exciting in a kind of like your cult favorite game got a second chance sort of way. Next game here, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 comes out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. Quick note here, if you haven't seen the reviews for this game that went through a troubled development cycle, is probably the best way to describe the interesting ways this game has changed hands over the last 10, 15 years.
It's been like 2 or 3 studios at this point.
I think at least 2 we know of. It eventually was finished by the Chinese Room, who up until now has really just been making horror walking simulators. which is interesting. The reviews for this have been pretty mixed, largely because, contrary to what you would expect for a sequel to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, this really isn't an RPG. It really is like a first-person action game with a couple of choices here and there, but it does not appear to be like the open world investigative kind of meeting the clans, choices matter sort of thing that the first game was. So I think if you go into it recognizing that the only thing it shares with the first game is the name, you might find something to kind of have fun with. But if you're like, finally they made a sequel to Bloodlines, you might not want to pick this up. It seems to be the reviews so far.
Okay.
Which is
That
a real
sucks.
bummer. Because I think this game had enough going against it with multiple developers and a really super protracted development and some concerns about making another Vampire the Masquerade thing, and a ton of Vampire the Masquerade games coming out in the last couple of years, and then the whole kerfuffle with the like $90 version being the actual complete edition of the game with like the extra 2 clans right until release, and then them moving back on that. Like it has had nothing but problems for a really long time, and for it to come out with these reviews is kind of a bummer. So I don't know. Read some reviews if you're looking to pick it up, but you should probably know what it is kind of going into it. Next game here, Dispatch, comes out on PS5 and PC. We haven't talked about this for a while, but this is this kind of very cool cel-shaded animation game where you're a dispatcher for a superhero company, and it's one of those kind of like choices matter sort of games from like alumnus from all the different like Telltale studios and spin-offs and all that stuff. So they're really kind of promoting this of like, hey, if you liked all of those other games and you liked this sort of stuff, you might like Dispatch. And I'm happy it's finally coming out, because it seems like this would be one of those games. Thankfully, it's not the case. Seems like one of those games you'd see a trailer for and like, God, this looks so incredible. It just never comes out. But thankfully, it's almost here, and it looks very cool. And I'm really curious to see what the reviews are going to be for this one. So that's Dispatch. Looks really cool. If you haven't seen any trailers of it, you really need to go see what it looks like. It looks
I
incredible.
think this was the one that also had the blend of like old technology with like futuristic technology too.
It does, yeah. I'm remembering some of that now, seeing this trailer of like a bunch of people in modern day using these like old kind of green scale workstations and that sort of stuff. So like that, this game looks really cool. So I'm hoping I'm hoping it turns out pretty well. Double Dragon Revive comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, Switch, and PC. This is developed by Ukes and published by Arc System Works. I was a little confused about this because, like, the names remaster and remake kind of have lost a lot of meaning lately, and I was like, oh well. Double Dragon Revive, okay, sure, you're just gonna you're gonna redo the first one, and maybe all 3 of them, and just kind of do. No, looks like they're making a new one, as far as I can tell. That kind of has elements of the old ones. And like the only thing that they're really selling is Double Dragon roars back to life in the modern era, which is sort of like, yeah, is it a brand new one though, or like what do you? Because that still, like, sort of says remake, but
nothing.
Not really. Yeah. So it's really weird. Like, it looks cool. It looks kind of like a modern side-scrolling, but 3D. You know how a lot of beat-em-ups will do that nowadays, of, like, it's still on a 2D plane. You can kind of move forward and backward in the background a little bit, but it's all 3D models and stuff like that. So it looks cool, but I feel like I don't know enough about it, even after watching a bunch of trailers and stuff, to really get super excited about it, other than, yeah, that looks like a cool beat 'em up, and I'm kind of already playing Absolum, and that's doing some fresh stuff. So, like, I need some more info on this one, I think. But it's nice to have more beat 'em ups.
Maybe, yeah, I was gonna say maybe one to come back to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely one to check out the reviews on. Persona 3 Reload is coming out on Switch 2. Just like Disgaea 7 Complete we talked about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. This is just a native Switch 2 version of Persona 3 Reload. Doesn't seem to have any new features, doesn't seem to have any like exclusive Mario DLC or anything like that. It's just a native version of Persona 3 Reload. It probably runs, shouldn't be surprised, it probably runs way better than the original Switch version. But if you haven't played Persona 3 Reload, or if you haven't played Persona 3, it's really good. Reload is a really cool version of kind of like a classic Atlas RPG. So if you wanted to check out Persona 3, that game's real good. It has a real good story, and they kind of fixed Tartarus, so that's a plus in and of itself. So go check that out. Plants vs. Zombies Replanted comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, Switch, Switch 2, and PC. They're remastering the first Plants vs. Zombies game, which is kind of surprising because I feel like I'm watching this trailer and I'm sort of like, that looks sort of how I remember the first game looking. I'm sure it was in like 360p on the 360. But like, it sort of looks similar to how I remember that game looking, which is kind of okay. I think that's probably what you want this game to look like, I guess. So that's cool. That first game was great, I remember. And now has like local co-op and stuff. So if you haven't played the first game, it's fun. Like it's a real cool kind of super light tower defense game that wasn't ever really impossibly difficult. There was some stuff in there that was challenging, but it was never like kick your teeth in hard or anything. So that's cool.
I think the only Plants vs. Zombie game I even kind of played was the 3D shooter that they came out with, like that multiplayer shooter game they released.
What was that even
called? I don't remember.
That was pretty fun.
Just came to mind. Yeah, I was saying my son played a lot of it, and I played a little bit with him.
Right.
That's the only time I think I've ever played Plants vs. Zombies before.
Interesting. Yeah, that first one was pretty good. I feel like that was like a Xbox Live Arcade classic of like everybody's playing Plants vs. Zombies because it's like the downloadable hotness of the month or whatever. So
yeah,
it's cool.
For your 500 Microsoft points or whatever.
That's right. 563 Microsoft points, yeah. Next game here, very excitingly, because I forgot it's coming out so soon, Power Wash Simulator 2 is launching on PS5 Series, consoles, Switch 2, and PC. It is Game Pass day and date, and just like the first one, it's only $25, which
nice.
I would pay. Don't listen. Square Enix, don't listen. Well, they don't publish it anymore. But Future Lab, don't listen. I'd pay way more than that for Power Wash. But I will happily pay $25 for this and definitely stream it online and chill for, I don't know, 40 more hours in this game, however big it's going to be. They have mentioned that they have a bunch of tools. If you're watching a trailer, it looks like they have a couple more tools here, a bunch more jobs. And it just looks like more Power Wash Simulator, which is really great because they could have just said, here's 20 or 30 more levels. And I'd be like, yep, that's great. I'll play that. Keep bringing them on, man.
Apparently you're making money for the cat.
Yeah.
Does the cat own the business? Is that what's happening?
God, I hope. I really hope. That would be so good. That would be very Power Wash Simulators.
I was going to say, it's like
this
they're
cat
getting
from
into
the cosmos.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm really excited to check this out. I really, really loved the first one, and I'm very happy that they're getting a chance to do the second one here. And I hope, just like the first one, there's a bunch more ridiculous pieces of DLC that come out on this one, where it's like, here's Final Fantasy VII. It's like, yep, put Final Fantasy VIII in this one. That'd be a real good one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's plenty of mechs. That crab mech that you fight, the boss, you can power wash that
clean
thing.
Up all of Galbadia Garden. Let's do it.
Exactly.
The biggest level they've ever made. Yeah. That Warhammer 40k DLC for the first one was really good. That was one of the biggest ones, too. Next game here is Fast and Furious Arcade Edition. Comes out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. Shockingly, not a last-gen release for this, which is kind of surprising. I did not know that there was a Fast and Furious arcade game. They are porting that for home consoles. And it just seems to be a, faster than it should be, lightly Fast and Furious adjacent Fast Saga sort of thing. So
actually, I think I have played this in one of the bowling alleys.
Oh, really?
We have around here. I think it has this game in it because this looks familiar.
Yeah, I mean it's cool that I don't think we get that. I think a lot of days with arcade stuff, we're getting the inverse of there's an arcade machine of Rock Band or Guitar Hero, or a home thing, or there's a Mario Kart arcade machine. A lot of stuff doesn't go the other way anymore, which is kind of interesting. So I don't think I've heard a lot of people really scrambling to be like, oh my god, finally the incredibly cool arcade machine is coming home. So I don't really know, but it's probably fine. So I meant to look up the price for that too, but I didn't. Next up is Once Upon a Katamari. Comes out on PS5, Series Console, Switch, and PC. It is a brand new Katamari game that does not appear to be a remake or a collection or a remaster or a bundle or anything like that. It appears to be the last brand new one we got was the Apple Arcade one, Katamari Touch? No, that was maybe the Vita one. Anyways, it's been quite a while since we've gotten a brand new home console one. This one is apparently you're traveling through different eras across time, like ancient Greece and the caveman era and the Wild West, and building stars across time and space this time. So I honestly kind of don't care what the justification is. I just want to play more Katamari and listen to the cool soundtrack here. So that seems to be what they're doing again here. And it looks cool. More Katamari. Yay! More Katamari.
You know what you'll get.
Yeah, exactly.
All kinds of weird, crazy stuff.
Yeah, the weird design. The King of all Cosmos is gonna be a jerk to all the princes, and you probably have one of the best soundtracks you've ever heard in your entire life. So all the usual stuff. And last but not least, one of the more confusing releases across 2025 that I'm still not 100% sure on, Moonlighter 2: The Endless Vault, might be coming into early access this week on Steam. But it also might not. Or it might also have a playtest experience that you can sign up for on Steam. Or it might not. And it might still be coming out in November, but potentially not. So
something's happening.
I spent a considerably more amount of time today trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this game that was supposed to be in 1.0 by now. And I'm not holding that against them, because game development is incredibly difficult. So release dates are going to move, and that's not a problem. But it's still a lot of there's so much information on their Steam page of coming in early access soon, maybe on the 23rd. Also, there's a playtest you can sign up for right now. Also, it's coming out of early access on November 15th. And it's wait, so you're going to... okay, it's okay if you're going to sit in early access for a month, but then their description on Steam, you know how they have that like early access panel of like, how long is this game going to be in early access? It says, as long as it needs to be for us to make sure that it's the best for players. And it's like, well, then what the hell?
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Thank you, Star Citizen.
Yeah, like it might still be coming out. I'm really looking forward to this game because I really loved the first one. If people haven't played the first one, it was kind of like it had this really cool gameplay loop where like during the day you're running a shop and at night you're going into the dungeon to get more materials to sell in your shop. So you kind of had this really great gameplay loop of half of your day is running a shop and setting prices and doing all the inventory management. And at the end of the night, you're trying to grab as much stuff as humanly possible to sell in your shop and make enough money to kind of like improve your character in the town and stuff like that. So
yeah, so the first game is available on all last gen, including mobile,
right?
And it's only $20 if you've never played it. So
it's really good. I had a lot of fun playing that, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what the improvements they're gonna do for the second one is, because the first one was really good, but like the combat system kind of never really felt that great, and it like it's all one of those things where like, boy, if they make a second one of this, you could see how they could have improved kind of across the entire thing. So I'm hoping they get the opportunity to do that this time. It looks really good and it looks really smooth, but we'll see what that's going to turn out to be here when it potentially comes out soon. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. We do have two news stories here. Unfortunately, the first one here is a real bummer. It's always a bummer when someone in the industry passes away, but personally for me, this is a real bummer. Tomonobu Itagaki passed away this week at the unfortunately young age of 58. He had a friend post a farewell message on Facebook after his passing. The reason for his passing has not been disclosed, which is understandable. But from people that were his friends, including the guy who makes Tekken, who they were like bitter enemies for most of their lives. They were best friends there in the last couple of years. There's been some word that it sounds like Itagaki had been ill for some time. So he unfortunately passed recently at 58, and I'm real bummed about this because we talked about Ninja Gaiden 1 and Black and 2, which he directed. He founded Team Ninja, which for the longest time was kind of like the character action, like hardcore character action studio. He directed the first 4 Dead or Alive games, not a lot of the spin-offs. He also did Dead or Alive Ultimate and Extreme Beach Volleyball. So he's like really involved in the majority of the games that were coming out of Team Ninja for a really long time. And the thing that I really loved about him is, number one, he was a dyed-in-the-wool hater, which I loved. Like, I posted in the Discord server. He wrote in, I think it was to either IGN or Giant Bomb years and years and years ago, about like his favorite games of, I think it was 2012, his top 5 and bottom 5. And his top 5 were all like the big games that came out that year, and then all of his bottom 5 were just Tekken 1 through 5 in numerical order. Like, it's just dyed in the wool hater, and I loved. And when he was coming on the scene, we still weren't hearing. It was very, very early, and I think it was GameSpot posted some early footage with him where they were still calling him Tom Itagaki. So like that's how early he was on the scene. We didn't get a lot of interviews with Japanese developers at the time, especially very outspoken kind of rock star developers. So we didn't get someone coming on the scene and be like, yeah, man, I made a good fighting game, unlike the garbage trash that everybody else is putting out. Oh, that makes you upset? Try my good game and stop playing bad, dumb games for babies, you dumb baby. And I was like, Dang, okay. Like
Rockstar to the point that you never saw him without sunglasses or a leather coat.
yeah, he had that like
For the
leather
most part.
jacket and his sunglasses
Yeah.
all the time, even in interviews, like even at E3 walking around, like, and like,
I know the first time I had seen him, I was like, who is this douche walking around with sunglasses indoors?
Yep.
And then after a while, I was just like, all right, no, he's
it's just
pretty cool.
Itagaki. He's fine. And like, it was also kind of around the same era that like Iga was like had the whip and the leather jacket and like the adventurer's hat. Like
Yep.
Japanese developers were like kind of starting to make a name in for Western publications in a way that I think was really interesting. And then kind of backed up his words when the Dead or Alive games came out. DOA 1 wasn't really that great. But like when DOA 2 and 3 and 4 came out, he and Team Ninja came out with fighting games that if you took away the chest physics and like setting your age to
DNA.
99
Yeah.
and like all of the infamous stuff and the like the She Hicks High commercial, the like the infamous one for the original Xbox, they made a really approachable, very deep fighting game in Dead or Alive that taught you, okay, we're going to teach you really well how to do counters, how to do like counter grabs, and how to do this kind of rock, paper, scissors game that a lot of fighting games do, but maybe aren't necessarily interested in teaching you. And DOA was really good about like the easy difficulties on this are going to teach you this, and it's going to be easy. And the hard difficulties are going to be hard, and you better be good by the time you're getting there. But it wasn't a get good at the beginning game, which a lot of fighting games, even at that time, were still sort of struggling with.
I can remember watching videos for Dead or Alive. I think it was one of the tournaments where it was just counters upon counters upon counters. Like
Yep.
people were like 15 counters deep before
Yep.
someone finally landed a hit. And it's like, holy hell, man.
Yep. And like that's not even to mention like one of the biggest and most impactful original Xbox releases was Ninja Gaiden, and to kind of better that was Ninja Gaiden Black, which kind of like took a 2D side-scrolling platformer that was hard as nails and successfully brought it into the 3D era and sort of said like, okay, you want the blueprint for the Soulsborne genre? That's what this game is. And you better get good at the first boss, otherwise you're not going to play the rest of this game. And the first boss is incredibly hard. It's not a tutorial. It is a tutorial boss, but like you better beat him so you can see the entire rest of the game. That game was
kind of
really
like the parking lot
special.
and Driver. You better get
Exactly.
your parking done within 60
Yeah,
seconds.
and man, you
you're
might not
going
see the
anywhere.
rest of that game because that part's really hard. So, I'm really bummed that that he's passed, especially so young. Especially because he's been out of the public eye for so long. Team Ninja has really struggled for the last 10, 15 years or so. He spun off his own studio. The biggest game they put out was Devil's Third, which was critically panned and a huge like financial flop. He kind of never really, as far as I remember, never really got back to that kind of like, oh, this is an Itagaki game that he put out, and it has his hallmark on it, has his fingerprints all on it, and it's really outstanding. He kind of never seemed like really never got the budget or like the publisher to believe in him that he could make a game like that again. I don't think he really ever got another chance. So it's a real bummer, but I think it has made me really happy as someone who for the longest time has felt like the only Itagaki and Dead or Alive defender of a lot of people coming out of the woodwork and be like, no, this dude was cool, and he was a hater and he was outspoken, but he made a lot of really cool stuff, and he made an impression and he made an impact on me and the industry. And that's really makes me happy to see. So yeah. Other news story we have
another death.
Yeah, another bummer news story here. Microsoft is officially retiring support for Windows 10. That officially ended earlier this week on October 14th. Some versions and editions and stuff kind of start petering out over the next week or so. But for all intents and purposes, official support from Microsoft for Windows 10 has ceased. A lot of people in the video game industry are focusing on Valve always sends out those surveys every once in a while where pop up and be like, hey man, can we gather the data on your computer and like anonymize it and send it off? By the way, always say yes, because if you want more companies to support lower end hardware, you need to tell them, hey man, I got a 1080 in this thing. I'm still doing it. I'm running Windows 7, like that sort of thing. 30%, a little over 30% of Steam users are still using Windows 10. I am recording this and streaming this very podcast on Windows 10. Not because
I still have a Windows 10 machine active in my living room.
Yeah,
so.
like, not because I have a TPM module in this machine. I can move to Windows 11, but I would want to wipe out my whole machine and do a fresh install, and I don't want to do that until I get my next machine, and then I will. I was originally going to say I'm happy to use Windows 11 because it's fine until they keep, jamming in more AI garbage in there, and now I'm a lot less interested in using an OS that was just okay, if not a little ugly, and now turns into a thing that's just going to be scraping your data and actively working against you, which sucks. But it's
making sure that you see the ads within your start menu.
That's right. Yeah. Don't forget to sign up for Disney Plus. Thanks for hitting the start button. I think the bigger story, though, is that number one, there have been a lot of erroneous news stories out lately that the usage of Windows 7 has skyrocketed. That's incorrect. Someone came forward and said, hi, I just spun up like a couple thousand VMs for I don't know what they're doing. Those were all in Windows 7. So if you're seeing a very large increase in Windows 7 installs, that's just me. That was a mistake. So that's how small the install base of Windows 7 still is. There is still some machines out there, but it's an estimated around 40% of global machines are still running Windows 10 for one reason or another, whether it is an institution not wanting to pay the upgrade cost from 10 to 11, a massive training effort that it would take for most institutions to transfer, have their IT team transfer and train their staff. A lot of machines don't have the TPM module, the Trusted Platform module, the version 2 or higher.
My old one does not have a TPM chip,
right.
And I would have to upgrade the motherboard, and at that point, I would just rebuild, a completely new machine. So.
Exactly. Or and people will say, "Oh, you can fake it, you can get that installed." Yeah, but for Windows 11, it's not anything where I know you get the more modern version of DirectX, which you can probably backport into Windows 10 anyway. So the benefit isn't really there for a lot of people, and especially a lot of companies. And I think one of the biggest things that I think for us for gaming, there's some stuff. It's a big enough change that we'll talk about it here on the show. But there is an impact probably to DirectX and Steam, and eventually, Valve will say, "Hey man, they don't support Windows 7 anymore. I don't believe in an official capacity." And I don't think Windows 8. But at some point they'll say hey man, we're not supporting Windows 10 anymore. There's 5% of people are using it. It's not secure. You got to move on. It's 2035. You need to move on from Windows 10. Hopefully over to Steam OS, Valve, please.
Seriously.
But I think the real looming concern here is from an e-waste perspective, because especially if there's a considerable number of these machines, like the machine that you're running, NIMP, where they don't have the TPM version 2 or higher or whatever, you're largely just going to have to e-waste that machine at some point, to get a new
Oh,
one to get
not
another
so, my
one.
friend.
Not,
Let's talk about Linux here for a
that's
moment.
right. For us, it's a lot easier to say like, I'm just
Yeah.
tossing Mint on it, or I'm tossing whatever version of Linux will become more popular that kind of looks a lot like Windows 10 and supports Vulkan for a lot of the gaming stuff. But I think if you're looking at an institution that has 200, 500, 5,000 computers that don't support Windows 11, you're just going to chuck all those things instead of like, Dell will sell you a new motherboard and put it in this latitude and do this whole thing. It's like, nah, man, I'm just going to get rid of all these machines once they age out.
And the bigger issue, too, company-wise, because I know my company is dealing with this and has been dealing with this for years now because we've been prepping to move over to Windows 11,
Right.
is a lot of the software that we use is still not supported by Windows 11.
Exactly. Right.
So we have people who could move over to Windows 11. We have those machines imaged that way.
Yeah.
However, we've had to put exception rules in our Active Directory for Windows 10 machines to prevent them from update, even though they could,
Right.
to prevent them from upgrading to 11, because as soon as they do, all that software is non-compliant and doesn't work with
That's
Windows 11.
wild, man.
Yeah.
And
It's just ridiculous.
And like a lot of people online are like, well, I don't like, who cares if the users don't like Windows 11? It's like, that's not even the problem. A lot of IT teams are probably just going to make Windows 11 look like Windows 10 and say like, okay, here's a new machine, whatever. If you have any problems, let me know. But like you said, a lot of software that maybe worked in Windows 7 and now kind of works in Windows 10 just doesn't work at all in Windows 11. And it's not significantly different from 10, but it's different enough that you fire up whatever institutionally supported program that they've been using for 25 years, and it's like, yeah, it just doesn't run.
And that's because I know a lot. There's somebody out there who's like, well, just find an alternative program. There aren't for these specific
this
softwares that
industry,
we're using.
right?
Yeah, there is not an alternative. This is the software.
Yeah, someone wrote it
So
27 years ago, and it still works by
Exactly.
the grace of God. And it was written for
There's-
Windows NT4, and it's
There's
still
DOS code in there somewhere.
exactly like it was written in COBOL, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's still crawling, man. It's just gonna keep crawling until it can't anymore. So
Pretty much.
that's interesting. You know, we typically don't talk about a lot of kind of Windows focused stuff unless it's as big as this, but that's kind of a big news story, and you know, kind of the beginning of the end of Windows 10 support for potentially a bunch of games. You know, we eventually saw that with Windows 7 of like, cool, this game doesn't run on Windows 7 anymore. You have to run on Windows 10 with that version of DirectX or higher, and we're gonna at some point we're just gonna start seeing that for whatever version of DirectX. I want to say 13, but that's probably wrong on Windows 11.
I think
12
is
maybe?
the most recent.
Okay. I was just making 13 up. Windows 11 is so cool. It's got an unreleased version of DirectX. But like I'm sure at some point we're going to see that of like, yeah, this feature is only supported in DirectX 12. I don't think we've seen that
Yeah,
quite
Windows
yet.
11 comes pre-installed with DirectX 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. But, you know, for a lot of us, it doesn't really change stuff other than, yeah, cool, you're not putting patches out. Okay. Like, sure,
Yeah.
it's going to be
And-
unsecure, but you're probably going to do emergency patches for the next 5 years anyway, because you're like, ugh, that's a really bad. Well, okay, we'll put out one more patch because it's real bad, and make sure you install this one and then move to Windows 11. This one's real bad, but you know, don't worry, Windows 11, smooth sailing over there, right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, like Microsoft has been really weird about the last couple of Windows iterations because, like
Yeah.
the forced installation of 10,
Right.
Everyone remembers those horror stories, like certain military and non-military programs of people being out in the field all of a sudden couldn't work or
Yep.
do their very life-important things
Yep.
because it was trying to install Windows 10 at the wrong time.
Yep.
And now this crap where it's just like, oh yeah, we're just ending support now. Cool.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Everyone's
and, like, you
using
brought
it
up,
in the
like, all
world.
the e-waste
Yeah.
and like everything that this is going to cause. It's like,
It's gonna be real bad.
whatever.
All right, on those two bummer news stories, that's the end of our episode. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that's like really great here that happened this week. But Thank you, everyone, very much for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Please don't forget to join the Discord server, discord.tvgp.tv. And, as I said at the beginning of this very long episode, we are a listener-supported show. If you'd like to support us, you can do so over at e1m1.cash.
What's our numbers?
$5 a month is the recommended tier. That's why I call it fun for a $5. That gets you everything. Anything above and beyond that is greatly appreciated, but doesn't really get you any additional benefits other than paying for hosting for the show, because, God, that's so expensive. And like Moon and I were talking about sort of off mic at the beginning, we're still one of the podcasts that still has an RSS feed, which is unfortunately kind of a disappearing, sort of extinct dinosaur, which really depresses me for a lot of reasons. But if you can't support us financially, one of the best ways to do it is liking, commenting, subscribing on the YouTube channel, finding us over on Twitch. All of those links are on the side of the page there, and rating us positively. 5 stars would be really great, and a very complimentary written review as well on your podcatcher of choice. The big ones like Spotify, you probably shouldn't be using Spotify anymore for a whole host of reasons. But if you are, review over there. The Apple Podcasts, I think they call it now, because everybody just keeps changing their names. That really does help. Whatever Google is doing in general, I don't know, but if you can find a rate this show somewhere over there, that stuff really does help. And anywhere that you can rate, because it helps people find this show with other shows that are rated positively that are like TVGP. So that stuff does really help a whole bunch. I think that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's do your titles.
I've got 2.
Okay.
Splinter's Revenge.
Okay.
And From Peppy to Goth.
Okay. I have That's Very Metal, Squishing and Skittering, The Player and the Navigator, and She Kicks High. I kind of like The Player and the Navigator. That's a little bit longer than we usually have, but I like that visual of like you and your wife of like almost playing Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, of just being like, okay, you're at the bridge, this map says to go left, get the chest, and then go back to the bridge, and then go right, and then like you're like walking step by step through this like pre-rendered 2D game.
No, I'm fine with that one.
Okay. That's what video games are all about. Helping each other out. And then yelling when someone took a wrong turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 939 for October 20th, 2025. The Player and the Navigator.
What do you mean when I say right screen?
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and hanging out, watching, listening, chatting. We do greatly appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Hopefully Moon is resting in a dark room and feeling better. I hope he's back in fighting shape for next week, and hopefully